Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX deep dive video breakdown. In today's video breakdown, we're going to be going over XDC, Zinfin, and the XDC network. If you all enjoy video breakdowns like this, make sure that you smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. This is going to be a deep intellectual dive, going down the rabbit hole, reading some documents to you all, piecing parts of the puzzle together. With that being said, I also have some video clips for you all today as well. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's jump in. So we're going to start with this recent fundamental from April 3rd, 2023. The second edition of the Global Trade Facilitation Summit themed Trade Transformation and Technology, right? That was this year, held recently in March 2023 in Dubai. Now, it goes on to read, the Global Trade Facilitation Summit 2023 was a unique opportunity for banks, trade finance professionals, traders, importers, exporters, lawyers, and business professionals to gain insights into trends, developments, legal and technical issues impacting global trade and finance. The summit was attended by 390 delegates from 37 different countries, including 68 nationalities. It goes on to read, the Trade Facilitation Summit was driven by the agendas of the multilateral development banks. Now, here's the first mention of this vocabulary word. Now, in previous video breakdown, specifically surrounding the XDC network, HBAR, Casper, things of that nature, we've talked about MDBs or multilateral development banks. And in today's video breakdown, we're going to specifically jump in to a detailistic perspective on how these banks, these multilateral development banks, for example, the World Bank, the IMF, the BIS, they all want liquidity, right? Including the private sector arm of the World Bank, the IFC, the Asia Development Bank, and it goes on to mention other MDBs that had attended this summit. So moving on, sit back, relax, and listen to this little tiny video clip from the Trade Finance Global, where it goes on to talk about multilateral development banks. This is from the summit itself and how they specifically want and focus on liquidity.
But if you looked at the figures yesterday, multilateral development banks, one of them had increased its program, which is already huge, by 30% last year. Another one had increased their program by 50%. And we heard from Makiko from the IFC that very recent times they've issued guarantees covering Ghana, Ukraine, and Sri Lanka. So it's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. And a lot of people are not aware of these programs. Because the MDBs are one step away from the commercial counterparties because they cover the bank risk. But yesterday there was comments from some corporates here, we never believed that we could still trade with these emerging markets. So the key right now is to use this model, support this model, and leverage this model. There's no doubt about it. And people here, yesterday people are talking about AI checking documents. Let's be clear. Corporates don't want bank checking documents and telling them the discrepancy and charging a fee for it. They want risk coverage and they want liquidity. So the best way of doing that is through supply chain finance programs.
Now, with that out of the way, in a previous video breakdown, I had shared these fundamentals from xdc.org with you all. This is from April 13th, 2023. And it goes on to say, wider adoption will require simpler applications, low or no cost to use the basic functionalities. A new liquidity provider to support these trades is needed. Moving on, we also saw this fundamental from the xdc.org website, where it goes on to talk about the EU Parliament approved the markets and crypto assets, the MiCA law, right? And it talks about global trade in general will benefit from a broader secondary market and will inject much needed liquidity into the trade finance sector. Now, I tweeted these long informational tweets out to you guys where I went on to say, info on how XDC and the XDC network can be a liquidity provider for global trade flows involving digitized processes. Now, again, in this video breakdown, I'm attempting to give you guys the realest information, no bullish moonboy hype, real actual deep research and analysis. And it says, first, XDC provides liquidity in global trade finance flows by serving as a medium of exchange for transactions on the XDC network. You guys can follow me on Twitter if you want to read this more in depth. Second, the XDC network can also facilitate the creation of smart contracts that can automate various processes involved in global trade. Third, The XDC network is open to developers, allowing them to create decentralized applications or dApps that can leverage the XDC cryptocurrency and network to provide additional liquidity and functionality. Now, we heard that gentleman say that these multilateral development banks, they want liquidity.
Let's be clear. They want risk coverage and they want liquidity.
Well, I tweeted this out to you all. Again, another informative tweet. If you don't follow us over on Twitter, make sure that you do so. Link is in the description down below. Multilateral development banks, or MDBs, which we've talked and discussed about here on the CYPRX platform before, playing a massive role in this digital transformation, such as the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the Bank for International Settlements, all depend on liquidity in global trade finance to carry out their functions. Now, again, if you want to read this more in detail, you can either pause the YouTube video where I go into a little bit more of examples on how each specific multilateral development bank depends on liquidity for global trade finance. Okay, but moving on, this is also very interesting surrounding the XDC network and this whole global trade facilitation summit that just recently took place in 2023. It says, this is from Impel, again, built on the XDC network, and we'll get into this in just a little bit. We are thrilled to participate as a silver sponsor in the Global Trade Facilitation Summit hosted by the Dubai Chambers. And it goes on to say right here, this is from March 15th and 16th, 2023. Okay, now let's just take a second and I want you all to pay attention to some very interesting key vocabulary. And if you're an XDC holder, I want you all to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe after I read this statement to you all. It says, right, why am I picking Impel to show you guys as an important example as to the role that the XDC network is going to play in the future? Check this out. This is from June 22nd, 2022. So just last year, Impel launches next-gen alternative to SWIFT, the SEPA, on the XDC network. Impel services will run on the XDC network, a top 100 enterprise-ready hybrid blockchain project for global trade finance. Impel and the XDC network, or XinFin, today announced the official launch of Impel, an alternative solution platform for quickly and securely sending ISO 222 compliant financial messages. It includes the option to add XDC as collateral for instant settlement and a bridge to the R3 Corda platform for future-facing banks and fintechs. That's going to play an important role in just 1 second. And it says, Impel was created as a cost-effective alternative to legacy financial messaging solutions like SWIFT, and it's utilizing the XDC network, right? That's insane. Providing an interoperable standard for financial data exchange while also streamlining settlement and reconciliation. And it goes on to say, our technology is easy for financial institutions to implement and will increase their ability to offer improved customer services and experiences through more efficient and lower cost transactions, said Troy Wood, the CEO and founder of Impel. We already are engaging with some of the largest global banks and payment companies, as well as smaller financial institutions in emerging markets as part of our pilot program. Again, this technology being tested and slowly implemented into the trade financial ecosystem. It says right here, we expect that Impel's financial messaging platform and the R3 Corda bridge could become ubiquitous globally. This is crazy. Within 2 years or less. This again was written in 2022, which gives us a time frame of around 2024, 2025, right? Very interesting. Moving on, R3 and XDC. We've gone over this in previous video breakdowns. Impel mentioning R3 Corda again being ubiquitous in, within 2 years or less. I just thought I'd read this for you guys. With this unique bridging technology, data can be recorded privately on the Corda network while limited data sets are transferred to the XDC public network, thereby mitigating institutional risk and turning Corda into a hybrid network. That's massive right there. Moving on, we also see this from Impel, built on the XDC network. It says, we are chosen by Analytics Insight magazine as one of the top 10 most innovative blockchain companies to watch in 2023. That was massive right there, which leads us to this little tiny article in Fundamental right here, where it goes on to talk about Impel. Impel, a financial fintech innovator that aims to revolutionize the institutional payments industry worldwide through next generation solutions that shift the incumbent centralized and inefficient model to a decentralized peer-to-peer platform, allowing for instant settlement around the clock at a fraction of the price charged by traditional payment rail providers today. And then it goes on to say right here, built on a green scalable, let me zoom in for you guys, this is kind of small. Built on a green and scalable blockchain distributed ledger technology, the XDC network. The key success factor for Impel's payment solutions rollout was to be built on a highly agile and capable blockchain. Well, what capable blockchain are they talking about? They're talking about the XDC network. This is why the XDC blockchain was selected. That's massive. Now, moving on, this is very interesting. World Trade Organization, okay? The World Trade Organization and the World Bank. This is, again, going down the multilateral development bank rabbit hole. Globalization has increased the need for closer cooperation between the multilateral institutions with key roles in the formation and implementation of different elements of framework for global economic policy. In particular, the International Monetary Fund, again, a multilateral development bank, the World Bank, and the World Trade Organization. Moving on, we see right here, this is a PDF, okay? If we scroll up to the top, we've seen this one before, blockchain and distributed ledger technology and trade. Where do we stand? And if we go down to page 14, okay, this is very interesting. It specifically talks about a crucial step towards end-to-end trade digitalization is creating an ecosystem that allows for seamless exchanges of data between existing platforms. This requires developing and implementing globally accepted digital standards for trade. So what are they talking about? All right, well, I want to take your attention to a recent tweet. This came out April 27th, 2023. Okay, this was put out by Cryptonaire D, and it says, XDC, the ETDB, is currently in Parliament and will be the English law framework for the handling of commercial trade documents in digital form from mid-2023. That is massive, okay? ETDB stands for Electronic Trade Documents Bill, all right? Now, what I want you all to pay attention is, again, we see right here, the World Trade Organization, the ICC Standards Toolkit, is the international framework for cross-border payments, paperless trade. Pay attention to that key vocabulary right there, paperless trade. It's a massive digital transformation that's happening throughout our global trade financial ecosystem right now. Now, what I find is interesting is this is from the International Chamber of Commerce, and it says, let's scroll all the way up to the top right here. The standard toolkit for cross-border paperless trade provides an overview of existing standards to help drive adoption, identify potential gaps, and promote interoperability. Its objective is to equip every supply chain participant, both public and private, with some of the most notable and widely used standards to help push trade digitalization to the next level. Check this out. It says global trade is the backbone of the world economy, valued, look at this number right here, valued at $28 trillion in 2021. We're in 2023, okay? Despite its importance, trading across borders remains a notoriously complex process, which is highly dependent on paper documents.
Yes.
Use cases for trade tech within supply chain finance.
Yeah, like, you know, the debate about paper and paper, like this building, okay, this building and this 700-seat auditorium, which is part of this big building, okay, the decision was made in this, in the Dubai Chamber, no more printing paper. There's no printer in this building. You cannot print a piece of paper. And in the beginning, to get over this, this is impossible, okay? But it's possible and it's happened. There's no paper. There's no paper in this building. So in terms of trade, it's not about digitalizing a piece of paper. It's about analyzing the workflow, the process, and then coming up with a technology that does what we do already, but does it more efficiently, more transparently, and with better reporting.
Again, specifically focusing on paper documents in comparison to what that gentleman just said, right? Now, this is from the xdc.org website, and it says, notably, the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, Trade Finance Global, and World Trade Organization white paper periodic table mentioned the XDC network trade finance platform TradeFinex. TradeFinex specializes in the deployment of tokenized assets on public-private blockchain networks via regulator-friendly instruments to resolve electronic bills of lading. Now, do you all see, after reading these documents to you all, how massive of a role XinFin and the XTC network is going to play. It even says right here, XinFin, the XTC network, is a global open source delegated proof of stake consensus network enabling hybrid relay bridges, instant block finality, and interoperability with ISO 222 financial messaging standards. In my personal opinion, right, I tweeted out to you guys just recently that in the next 2 to 3 years, XDC, the coin, is not going to be worth 4 cents. Mark my words. Many blessings to you all. I hope that you all enjoyed this specific video breakdown. If you did, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe, especially if you're an XDC holder. Go back and check out some of our previous XDC deep dive video breakdowns. As always, many blessings. Be cognizant. Do your own personal research. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and buy the XDC token. As always, be cognizant, be aware, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.